Hi, welcome to DCS. I'm going to record this mission. If anyone finds it helpful, great, that's really good. I'm just going to take you on a bit of a training mission with me. You can see what I'm up to. I'm going to jump in my cockpit. We'll get our light. Just going to go down here and we're going to turn these three around. So we've got some light. I'm going to go up to the top left. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to hit combat and I'm also going to hit CLDP. I'm going to switch this on just lightly. I'm going to put this to normal. Now I'm going to bring up my menu, so it's left alt and the dash, and we're going to just put on a pod, the WMD-7. I'm going to throw on some bombs. I'm going to use this one here, the GB-6, and I'm going to drop another one on ship, a GB-6. So we've got a couple of GB-6s on there. Not much for me to talk about there. I'm just going to click OK and get that under the way. At the back left, I'm going to click on SHARS. I'm going to click this button here for the air supply. I'm going to click this button here to put it on air to ground. Up here, I'm just going to switch this over to TR and G. And if we go up, we're going to turn the afterburner off. I'm going to click this to release the throttle, clicking that and clicking that. Just going to go up, putting on these two, the engine start. I'm going to take off the parking brake. Not a lot else there. I'm just going to put the master arm to on. I'm going to turn these around 1, 2 and 3. And then I'm just going to go down back here while we've still got time. Rearming's done. I'm putting that to 2, 2. Turning this up and putting that all up, up, up and up. Put the data cartridge in and we'll look up on the top left. Clicking all and enter. That's going to get that process done. I can see it's talking to me. I'm going to enter this information in here. Bringing up the K menu. Clicking here. Just putting in 2537 04 and 4 and clicking. That's done. I'm going to put the longitude in 055 56233 and click there. That's done. Got an altitude 76, so we'll drop that in 0076, and that didn't like that, so we need to do 3 zeros. Real good. 00076. Now we're good there. I'm gonna go over to here, change it to fast, and we'll see what's going on. We've got a dash. We've got put 076 again. 0, 7 and 6, and that's it. I'll just switch that to nav and we're good to go there. Let's let this engine start up. I'm going to hold down this button. It says GND just above it. When you hear that sounds, you can let go. Interesting, there's a combat button here. So we'll have a look at our screens. Just putting EP1 on, we can see something's happening. EP2. I'm just going to see if I can start looking at our pod. WMD-7, that looks okay. And then the cage, we can't uncage at the moment. This one here, we'll get rid of our joystick. Go down to here, just put on EFIS, so we've got some basic information. That can stay like that. See if I can put it on air to ground. No, I can't. We'll put on notional steering, left alt and D. We've got NWS up. I'm just going to put this one back on the FIS. Can't do too much else with it. This can be on combat, and this one can go back to our pod. Okay, it's got the lining time happening there, that's good. Let's get this cockpit closed. So we're just pushing that button. And then when it gets to this point, we'll push it again, which will seal it. We'll leave it in daylight mode. Just having a quick look over, but there's not much else to do on that side. Down here, this is all good. Just up here, we need to spin this around, so that's now done. And it's a good thing we had a look at that. We do have the afterburner off. Master arm on, parking brake off. Could put parking lights on if we wanted, but not too much need to do that at this point in time. So that's pretty much our cold and dark start this time. Let's go have a look if we had any errors. We've got no errors, so it's all clear. We're all good. Same, we've got oxygen, so I guess that's good. I wonder what happens if you turn this back. Does that stop blinking? No blink. Because I often couldn't be sure when you just look at this whether or not we've got oxygen. But if you do that and then look over here, you can see now it's flashing. So that might be a good way. Of course, you could turn it off and not see the blinking. But yeah, if you're wondering if you've got oxygen, well, look there and see if it's blinking. If it's blinking, we've got oxygen. Okay, so the only other thing to be aware of is just make sure if you're going to put this pod on, meaning this pod, the WMD7 pod, just make sure when you're doing your startup that you've got CLDP selected here. You want CLDP. Don't have it deselected, make sure it's selected. It may reset it, I'm not sure, but it seems happy at the moment. So yeah, I'll just put that onto normal. I've only got this on very softly, but that's fine. Data cartridge is in. We can put this little light back, and we're good there. So okay, let's get ourselves in the sky. Going to give ourselves a slight little bit of throttle. We've got a couple of these GB-7s on us, and we set some targets up just out here, a whole heap of them. We're hoping to hit one of them. If we can get a single target destroyed, then that will be mission success today. We're just going to close this alignment information because that's all now plugged into the system, and we'll start spinning around. Now, where is the best way for us to take off on this runway? Because this runway, we're starting in the center. I don't know if we need that much runway to get in the air, but I would like the runway just in case. So I think we selected no afterburner. We're going to put the afterburner on just so we can get ourselves up into the sky. If we use the afterburner, we'll be okay. If we weren't using the afterburner, it wouldn't be so good. Okay, so we're straight enough. Now the thing to be aware of just before you take off, just make sure you take that nose wheel steering off. So left Alt and D, so that's gone. And then we're just going to give it full throttle. Just center it up a little bit for us. We'll watch our speed. And about 150, we're just going to bring this bar here up towards the 10. And then stop around there. Push G on the keyboard. We'll bring our throttle back slightly. We'll just go back down to here and turn the afterburner to off. You can see we're in the sky and cruising away. So we'll go have a look at our targets soon. We'll just work out the direction. So they're going to be off to our right. First thing I want to do is see if we can understand what is happening here. So that's off, that is on. WNDT pod off. Now it's aligning, so we'll let it do that. We'll just level it out. Now, I'm not sure, but you can't use a autopilot straight away. But when you're about above 5,000 and stuff, it seems to begin to work. So you can click autopilot on, you can click here, and then you can put in an altitude. So we might put in 7. Oh gosh. Oh, 8. 00 and then enter, and now it should go up to around 8,000 and stop. We'll have a little look at our autopilot. This is not very dark, is it? You can barely tell that light is on. I think pretty much always leave this one off. Okay, so what do we have here? If we hit cage, we've now got a functioning T-pod. We can use the right and make the soy over here for that, and you can see now this is functional, and I can move it around. Okay, that's good. Now if we also jumped up here, we should see a little circle, and that's going to indicate what it's looking at generally. So if we can go find these planes, we can put the target lock somewhere near that. Now the other thing I want to do is I want to change this to slave. What else do we need to do? If we put it on manual mode, and then it's target locking. I want to release it, I can. Let's keep an eye on that area now. And if you want to release it, we can hit that. We can put it back to slave. Move it down. And release, and that's good. Okay. Move it down, find a spot, push up, and it's keeping a lock on it. Take it off. Okay, so let's give this a go. It seemed to be turning for a second there, probably because we had the autopilot still on. So we'll bring our throttle back a bit. Gosh, our plane went a long way somewhere. Way down here. So we need to head in the direction of something like that. Something around about 327. It's looking a bit better. Let's see how that goes. Three, 337. Okay, that's 337. We'll let the autopilot go on. And just hold that would be great. Now let's see what we can see over here. We're in air to ground mode. It says ready. Target of opportunity. Very good. There's some buildings, some more buildings, and then some wide area. So we can make any sense of what we can see on this T-pod. That would be good. Wide. Super wide. Let's just see if we've got it soy. So we're trying to find these buildings over there. And if we have a look up here, it's looking there-ish. So that gives us a bit of a guide. We've got some buildings there, some buildings there. Some buildings there, maybe those ones there, not sure. We still seem to be just needing to be looking in front of us. So let's go something like that. And then go have a look at our T-pod and see what we can make of things. I'm not looking for anything out there that looks like could be a target. There's not much help. Super not much help. Not much help. Not much help either. Okay, just out there it looks like we've got something flashing. Does that look like it? What do we have there? That looks pretty good. We can hit that spot. What do you think? I think if I can just get it onto that spot, then we'll have the target. And there we go. Okay, so we'll leave that in that mode, and then we'll come around and we'll see if we can drop a bomb on that location. It should hopefully remember that location for us. We've done our one pass over. And just go over here and have a little look. We're in target of opportunity, we're just dropping one. We could change that to 2, so we're going to drop both of them. Don't know if that's going to work, but we'll give it a go. They could hit each other, I suppose. Let's go with 1. Interval. Oh, that's interesting. Would we be able to change that, would we? So if we change that to 2, then you could put an interval in it. Oh. Yeah, I'll do that. So they should be a little bit behind each other. Fuse is just going to be direct or delayed. Direct. Okay. Let's spin it around. We've got that spot marked on the ground. We're hoping it will hit that spot that we've got marked on the ground there. So it's telling us up here that we're going to go left. Let's get back to that spot. And we should start to see it on a camera in the bottom right when we get around. There we go. Now we've got to be in range from here. So a missile like this, I'm going to presume. So we're about 9,000. See if we can go up a little bit, and then we will drop. And we just dropped both of them, I believe. So we'll go have a look. See if we can put the autopilot on. That's cool. It'll just stay at that altitude. So now we've got that spot marked and that one marked. Really the plane could just be hovering around at this point. That's one missile, and that's the second missile. So we're trying to get just one of these targets. That's what we're trying to achieve here. We've got a camera to watch the action. We're obviously about 11,000 feet above it at the moment. We can also, of course, watch the action directly from here. Not sure where the other missile is. Can we see it? This one's 334 out. I think this one's the closer one. Go back to our plane. We can see it from the plane there. So we can begin to see it. The plane's still got a visual. It'll lose that visual soon, but this is the second one. This is the first one. Let's see how we go. How accurate can we be? A little bit past it. And we've got a hit. We saw that on that. And kaboom. We've taken that out, and we still had the visual on it the whole time with the plane, which is very cool. So that was the 2 GBUs. They pretty much hit on target. We've got nothing else on us, just the T-pod. So we'll see if we can find ourselves a way to get back to this airport base over here. We'll turn our autopilot off. I'll go left around. We don't need this up anymore, but we'll put this up just because that's going to be useful. Now I believe there's a flaps button. You just push F and it will just swap between the two settings. So when it gets to the appropriate speed, it will begin to deploy. And we've also got air brakes that we can use. As you can see on the outside of the plane. Control B to bring them in, and then just B to bring them out. Don't seem to be able to change how much they come out, like you can with some planes, but not too big a deal. So we don't have a gear out yet, but we're pretty much very good speed. I do feel we're a bit high, just looking at it from where we are. And we need to level up a lot more. I'm going to let that clear. Because we dropped those bombs, we can now go down here, we can change it to AA, and you should notice it's all clear now. So that's good. Just on 202, we'll be able to bleed the rest of that off with the air brakes if we need. We're at the more appropriate altitude now. We're going to let that gear come out. Really want to see that front wheel come out. It's coming out, it's good. Now we do have a parachute, which I believe we can use as well. I'm not sure if we're going to use that, but it's an option. Putting the brakes out. Pretty gentle. I just wanted to look at the view. So now if we have a little look over here, we've got this we can deploy. Does it work? There we go. I haven't even used the brakes yet. I've got no throttle. Let's see if that little parachute can actually stop the plane. Because I'm not even using the brakes at all here, and I'd say we're in a pretty acceptable position. We can put it to jettison, and that gets rid of our thing. We can put on a nosewheel steering. I think it's very fun little plane, this one. It won't appeal to people who are looking for the old standard dials because it just has none. But if you're willing to look past that, then this is very cool. I think it is very fun. And of course, if you want to play with the standard dials, then there is many options in DCS, Digital Combat Simulator. So there's certainly, it's not lacking. This is really just building on to different options that are already in the game. But yeah, it's a very, very capable little fighter, this one. I'm going to go through just at the end, just some of the controls that I've used, because people may get stuck trying to work out what the buttons are to do things. So if I can, I'm going to go through that. A few of them you would have to set up. They just are not there by default, or at least if they are there by default, it won't be very obvious what they are. This looks like a cool place to park. And we're set up so we can get off and go in again pretty easily. So we'll see if we can shut this thing down. I click that. See if we can open our canopy. Had to click 3 times to get that canopy. Take a data cartridge out. We'll leave that on. You can turn these off. I do wonder how you could get that to clip that in. Put that to safe mode, we can put a seat on there, but we are on the ground and stopped. So go have a look at our controls. And if it still works, it does. How cool is that? Could probably put the joystick back, because you know it might be useful for the next pilot. You can turn these down. This is not a full correct process, obviously, of the plane, but we have got it shut down. Nonetheless, we could probably turn it around if we didn't do it already. We could put our parking brake on, so we'll leave that in the parking brake location, and we can take that off, and we can take that off. Afterburner's already off, so that's okay. What are other things we could do? We could set this to standby. We could turn this back down. We could set that back to off. Now we could turn these off if we wanted to. This doesn't really matter too much. This saves you from having to do it the next time. We didn't turn off that button. Don't think it would make much impact at the moment. But yeah, awesome. We can also take that out. We got through most things. We can take this master arm. Just put that to off. And that's that. So now let's go have a look at our controls. We're going to hit escape. We're going to do adjust controls, and we'll just find any random key that we can use to work out what we're pushing. So on the joystick, what do I have had set? Well, I'm using S1 forward this mode. I'm using this S1 for backward. I'm using this S1 for right. And I'm using that S1 for left. Now that's basically choosing which sensor of interest that we're using. So those four are determining whether we're using this one, or this one. And I'm using that to select between them. So that's one thing you need to have selected. Now if we go back, also on my joystick I've got this selected. So TD5 left, TD5 right. We're looking at the currently in use. We've got TD5 up and TD5 down. So when we're in the display and we've got it up and we're trying to move the cursor around to select the target, that's what I'm using for that. Also when you've got the radar, you can use that to move around the radar. So you select the SOI, the sensor of interest, with the other one, and then you use that to move it around. So that's those two. Let's go back. Go back to joystick. Now one thing you may find is you can push up on it and you can put it into dogfight mode, and there can be no way to get out of that. To get out of that, you want to push this T1 center nav navigation mode. T1 center nav navigation mode, and that will help you get back out of it. To select the target on the ground, I pushed this T5 press lock target, T5 press lock target. And also to put it into air to ground mode, so to switch the plane to air to ground mode, I'm pushing this button. T1 backward, air to ground mode. T1 backward, air to ground mode. So yeah, just again, we're using S1, S1 backward, S1 left, S1 right. We're using T5 up, T5 down, T5 left, and T5 right. We're using this T1 center navigation mode. We're using T1 backward, air to ground mode. And we're using T5 press lock target. T5 press lock target. At the moment I didn't use this, but that's what I have it set to. S2 right. Some other things. We've got the fire main gun, so that's to fire normal trigger guns, but for the actual weapon release of the bombs, I'm using this S3 weapon launch. So that's to drop the bombs. S3 weapon launch. That's what you need to have set in your HOTAS commands and know what that button is, so that when you push that, it'll drop the bombs and then it'll hit that location which you have found on the ground. And that's all the commands that we're using. So hopefully that's a little bit of extra information that you may not have got from some of the other videos, because we've shown it all the way from the beginning, cold and dark start, to flying there, to hitting the target, to coming all the way back, landing, deploying the chute, and then showing you the actual commands in the controls. So it is very much the sort of video that I needed, so hopefully it might help some of you as well. This wasn't really a tutorial video, just pretty much taking you through some of the steps that I'm going through as I'm trying to learn this plane. Unfortunately I wasn't able to see this plane as soon as it came out. I did pre-order it, but due to real life I wasn't able to look at it straight away. So I was a little bit delayed, and I'm playing catch up learning this plane at the moment. But as you can see, I can hit a target, and I do know a little bit more, especially in terms of relating to the weapon drops and using the guns and the missiles, which we haven't demonstrated in this video. But if you're just looking at how to hit a target on the ground with the GB-6, hopefully you'll find that useful. So the weapon we use today, we're using this. If we go to the pods, we're using the WMD-7 pod that was on the center, and then the actual weapons we dropped were these. We went to air-to-ground missiles, and we've gone down and we've hit the GB-6. So they were the GB-6, and that's what I've used to drop on the ground today. Hope you found that useful. Awesome little plane. If you're considering buying it, highly recommend it. Very, very fun. Hasn't got any wing flex yet, but I believe they will look at that at some point. It's not going to flex as much as the F-16, but it will hopefully have a little bit of wing flex, and they will add that eventually. A lot more systems for them to add. This was one of the better early access releases that have come out, and it's very impressive what they have been able to create. Very fun as well, which is the most essential thing. If you're just playing this game for fun, just to relax, then this is certainly a great plane to look at. And it's also very capable. You can do a lot of different things in this plane. It is multi-role, but the only thing you can't do in it, of course, is land on a carrier, but you could certainly attempt that with the chute and a high wind. But as you can see, if you're just laying on a normal airport, it's really, really easy. I did not use any brakes when we came in to land then, and yeah, we've been able to land quite successfully. We've also done a bit of a shutdown, and we are done for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.